So first, a little word of thanks to my guardian angel who made sure that when the sound pack fell off my cincture, it did not come apart and ruin the transmission of that. So that's a little learning experience there. Now today, the 28th of January, is the feast of St. Thomas Aquinas. I remember it well because I was ordained as a deacon on this day years ago. So that was very fitting because we studied a lot of St. Thomas Aquinas in the seminary in Rome. And one of my classmates who got ordained also as a priest converted to the Catholic faith at the University of Chicago, of all places. And he went on to be an extraordinary scholar of St. Thomas Aquinas. And I once asked him, like, how smart was St. Thomas Aquinas? Because this guy I know is like really smart. He's unbelievably smart. And the reason I know my friend is so smart, because I don't know much about philosophy, but I do know something about music. He has the ability to read 6 notes at once when playing the piano. Usually people can see just the melody line, they kind of figure the rest out. I met 2 people who can just see the whole thing and play it. I said, wow, what an extraordinary ability for comprehension. Now, on my second favorite app, or my favorite app is the Relevant Radio app, but on my second favorite app, which is the iBreviary app, it has a little story about St. Thomas Aquinas, which I'd like to read to you. The story and history of St. Thomas Aquinas. Thomas Aquinas was born of noble parents at Aquino in Italy. That's south of Naples, in the year 1226. So I don't know if St. Francis was still alive or if he died in 1222, but about that time, right? At the age of 19, he received the Dominican habit. That's an order of priests founded by St. Dominic. They're still active today. He received it at Naples where he was studying. Seized by his brothers on his way to Paris, his blood brothers, he suffered a 2 years captivity in their castle of Roccasecca. But neither the caresses of his mother and sisters nor the threats and stratagems of his brothers could shake him in his vocation, because they were trying to talk him out of it. Look, you got a future here. You can, one day this castle can be yours. Don't join that crazy order where they have to beg for their food. And while Thomas was in confinement at Roccasecca, his brothers endeavored to entrap him into sin. But the attempt only ended in the triumph of his purity. Snatching from the hearth a burning brand, the saint drove from his chamber the woman who they had concealed in his room. So he went in his room and they had snuck a woman in there to tempt him. And he grabbed a piece of log that was burning and waved it at her, and she screamed and she left, and the temptation was over, right? That's one way to do it. Then, marking a cross upon the wall, he knelt down to pray, and forthwith, being wrapped in ecstasy, an angel girded him with a cord in token of the gift of perpetual chastity which God had given him. The pain caused by the girdle was so sharp that Thomas uttered a piercing cry which brought his guards into the room. But he never told this grace to anyone except Father Reynald, his confessor, a little bit before his death. Hence originated the confraternity of the angelic warfare for the preservation of the virtue of chastity. Having at length escaped that castle, St. Thomas went to Cologne, Germany, to study under Albert the Great, St. Albert the Great. And after that to Paris. These were the beginning of universities in Europe. Salamanca, Paris, Milan, Cologne. And there he taught many years philosophy and theology. The church has ever venerated his numerous writings as a treasure house of sacred doctrine. Naming him the angelic doctor of the church has indicated that his science is more divine than human. The rarest gifts of intellect were combined in him with the tenderest piety. Prayer, he said, had taught him more than study. Prayer had taught him more than study. His singular devotion to the Blessed Sacrament shines forth in the office and hymns for the Feast of Corpus Christi that started mid-1200s, which he composed. We still have those hymns today. To the words miraculously uttered by a crucifix at Naples when Jesus said to him from the cross, "Well, you have written me. Well have you written concerning me, Thomas. What shall I give you as reward?" He replied, "Nothing except yourself, O Lord." He died at Fossa Nuova, 1274, on his way to the General Council of Lyon, to which Pope Gregory X had summoned him. His tomb is located in Toulouse. Now, they can't possibly do justice to St. Thomas Aquinas in a 5-minute homily, but I will tell you that on My favorite app, which I think is the world's greatest app, and it is a free app, you will find not 1, not 2, not 7, but 8 prayers by St. Thomas Aquinas in English and in Latin. And if you go to Latin, you can't understand it. The world's greatest app allows you to touch a button, and it translates there immediately. And you can get it in tiny font, medium font, or big font. So what's there? The Adoro Te Devote, 7 verses meditating on Jesus in the Holy Eucharist. Then you've got 2 prayers before Mass by St. Thomas Aquinas on the app. And then you've got a prayer after Mass. You've got 2 prayers after Mass by St. Thomas Aquinas, the Adoro Te Devote. You also have a prayer before Mass. And then you have the 4 hymns from the great feast of Corpus Christi. The Praise, O Zion, loudest Zion. And the first phrase of the second stanza is in our sacristy. You've seen that before if you've been in there. Quantum potes tantum aude. Give as much worship to God as possible in the Holy Eucharist. O Salutaris Hostia, which we sing every morning. The Pange Lingua and the Tantum Ergo. And his greatest work of all is the Summa Theologica. You can find it on the world's 3rd greatest website called, what's it called now? Yes, thank you. Who said that? Yes, New Advent. You can find the whole Summa there. In English, you can also find it in Latin. It was amazing. He wrote all this stuff before there was word processing. Right? There weren't books yet. They were all scrolls. And he'd read this stuff in the languages, Greek, Latin, Hebrew. He'd understand it. And he had like this photographic memory. So, maybe this weekend you can get a copy of the Summa and read one question, the questions and the objections, and then you marvel like, wow, he's got thousands of things. How did he do it?